This includes everyone. So there's quite a few of you who've been to the Sundarbans. That's good to know. So this falls under the Dakop region. Okay, we have two sites. One falls under the Dakop region. One falls under the Shamnagar region. So this, I don't know if any of you know, but this is the Dangmari Canal, which is one of the 3 dolphin sanctuaries in the Sundarbans. And our sites are, so the canal is going down, 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 and we have sites every 20 minutes down the canal. So they're actually almost in one row. Now, what we basically did. So Relief International has been working since 2003 in Bangladesh, and we've been working with communities in the Sundarbans on and off. Suddenly in 2012, my country director says, I want to work with ecotourism, what can we do? So we decided that, we'll start off small. We've already been working with the Sundarbans communities. Let's start something which is actually doable. So we used to work with communities that live in the buffer zone area. Do you know what the buffer zone area is? Did someone say yes? I heard one yes. Now it's your turn to tell me what buffer zone is.
It's a place that are reserved to
So you have a core zone in the forest where actually no intervention, no entrance, nothing is allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, it's only reserved for
reserved for the future or
the animals that live there, right? The wildlife, the biodiversity that lives there. Okay,
yeah.
And the buffer zone is where, if communities are already living there, they can continue living there, but no extra activity is actually allowed. So these communities live in the buffer zone. So this canal that I was just showing you. So the communities are on this side, right? And that's the forest. Okay, so with the communities, thank you so much, you can sit down. Alright, so what we started doing was, we decided, okay, what can we do to make it very easy? The communities are living next to the Sundarbans. They have no electricity, they have no gas, they have no drinking water. They have basically nothing. So by default, they are a very eco-friendly people to live with actually, because they have nothing, they have no resources as such that they can waste or they can, how should I put it, any greenhouse emissions are not really happening out there. So what we did was, we took the locals, we used them as employment, and we built cottages. We built a jetty. You know what a jetty is? When the boat has to come and dock, you need a place to dock. So we built a jetty. This is the picture of a jetty. I have more pictures. So we started off with infrastructure. Now that is a tree house up there. This is a tree house which is built at around 30 feet above the ground. And this is a part of a jetty. Those are the cottages. That is also a jetty. So we started off by building jetties and cottages in areas that were owned by the locals. Okay, so these locals they own the land. We don't own anything. We're just building them the cottages. And the locals themselves are used to build the cottages. Then we gave them training. Now, what training can they possibly get? I mean, you build them a cottage. We're trying to start an ecotourism venture. What do you think these pictures are showing? A left-sided picture, they all look like they're posing for the picture, I know, but there's actually something happening there. What do you think they're doing? Come on, the guy's holding a bucket in his hand. It says housekeeping. They've been trained for housekeeping, okay? On the right side, this fellow that you can see, Nirupam, he's an eco-guide in Sylhet region, and I think Caesar probably knows of him. So Nirupam is given these they're our group of eco-guides. We have 24 of them. They're in training. They've been trained to become eco-guides. So trained to take tourists inside or wherever around the environments of the forest. I don't know if this picture is very clear, but this is a cooking class because when you go to a site, mostly the food is either too spicy or it's too salty. So we're just trying to streamline their cooking. And on that side, we're giving them financial trainings, like how to manage the bookkeeping, how to do the finances. Okay. Then, the second part was giving them a legal entity. Now, these people who have cottages, they've become entrepreneurs, okay? Now they are cottage owners. But just because you're a cottage owner or you're calling yourself an entrepreneur, does not give you any kind of a legal entity. So we gave them, the maximum that we could do was give them licenses to do business. So they now are all businessmen and women, legalized. And these are all pictures of various activities that they've done. These are the two trainings that we gave them. So they are housekeeping plus hospitality and services. This was an exposure trip to Nepal, and that was an exposure trip to Lauchara Forest. Then we went on to marketing and promotion. By the way, we have some brochures for all of you. I would really request Shejiti to actually pass them around. You will see in the brochures that at the back we have a logo by UNWTO. Does anyone know what UNWTO is? The UN, right? WTO. You are right, but in this case you're wrong. It's the World Tourism Organization. That is just WTO. This is UNWTO, the World Tourism Organization. So we won an award. We were one of the only Bangladeshi projects to actually win a UNWTO award for innovation. We won that early this year. So our marketing and promotion includes, attending various fairs. We have printed and electronic media that has supported us. And by the way, guys, those two links up there, you're supposed to instantly log into your Facebook and like our page, please. And when you go home, please log into our website as well. And I really mean it. I want at least 20 likes on the Facebook page today. So I'm going to leave the students here to make sure they do that. Okay, Dominic? All right.
For extra mark.
Absolutely. No extra marks. Okay. Now we come to the main topics. So as a wrap up, what we did was we built some infrastructure. We trained the locals. We're hoping that they have learned a little bit about conservation, a little bit about what ecotourism is, a little bit about how to guide when tourists come to visit their sites, a little bit about hospitality. So we've given them these trainings. This year is the first year when tourists are actually going to start going to our site. So we're still hoping to see how these entrepreneurs perform. They have had a few tourists go to their sites, but so far not a lot of tourists have been there. I'm hoping a big group from MSU goes soon. Okay, so ecotourism. Now, before you start reading what I've written there, one of you already gave me a very, very simplified explanation of what ecotourism can possibly be. It's a good balance between conservation and tourism. Actually, there is the official definition, of course, which is the UNWTO definition on the left side. So on the right side now, I'm going to ask everyone in the audience to be a little more interactive. Minimize impact. What do I mean by that? How can ecotourism minimize impact? Anifa said some very good things about how ecotourism should not be allowed to actually start having a negative impact, because it's very easy for any kind of an intervention to suddenly turn around and become a negative impact. So how can we minimize the impact of ecotourism or tourism of any kind? So it's in the Shindwans. Imagine you're in the Shindwans and you are a landowner, you are a member of the Shindwans community, and you have a cottage which is built with bamboo, gol pata diye chhat kora hoyeche. It's very pretty looking. How can you make sure that you are minimizing your impact on the surrounding environment? What do you need to do?
Usually in the brochure that speak softly, smoking not allowed, keep dusting to the dustbins, and get support. Other things like noise, don't do for them.
Great. Thank you for actually reading the brochure. But it's true. There are so many ways that you can actually minimize your impact on the environment. There's a never-ending list of things that you can do. That's just a point I've put up there, which is actually supposed to make you think of more things that can be done. Build environmental and cultural awareness and respect. Now, when you're talking about the environment, when you're going to a remote community which is probably indigenous, you will always be faced with a cultural aspect. There will be a certain culture of the area which you have to respect. And in Shundavane, for those of you who have been there, do they have any kind of a culture in the Shundavans? Yes? What is the culture? It's a jungle culture. Really, what is their culture? They do have a culture. Honey collecting, that's like a form of employment, but yes, the honey collectors are a certain group of people, right?
When they enter the forest, they call the tigers mama.
They call the tigers mama. That's a very good example. I'm just going to come to that. So yes, they do have a very unique culture, and that is actually a very unique part of our project, that we promote their culture. So I'm going to come to that. Thank you. Acha. So I've got a whole list of things here, and I don't actually like going through each and every one of the points, but I'm going to actually go to the last point, which is raises awareness about local problems. So, you know, when you have a project which is promoting ecotourism, and you're in an area where people have nothing, and suddenly they see these cottages and a lot of tourists coming in, a lot of them are foreigners, and you know, everyone tries to come and look, oh my god, ঢুকে দিয়ে জানলা দিয়ে একজন তাকাচ্ছে, ওই দিক দিয়ে একজন তাকাচ্ছে. So every time our guests have gone, there's only one complaint. You know, that the locals are very inquisitive, but that's just how they are. So the thing is that when the tourist goes there, and for people who are not part of the project or who live further away, so they don't know much about the project, they always come and ask that what are all these people doing here? What can I do to have them come to my house? You know? And then that's when they get to know about this term ecotourism. That's when they get to know that this is a project that is trying to conserve the forest which is so close to you by encouraging an alternative income generating option which is ecotourism. Now this, I've added a new word in here. Alternative income generating activities. What do you think I'm trying to say here? It's a very common term we use in the development world, but this might be a little unfamiliar to you guys. Alternative, see it's up there as well. Alternative income generating activities. What do you think this means? What? Alternate income generating activities. Come on guys, what do you think it means? Sorry? Mitigate hunting or poaching. Okay, not mitigate, but I mean, yes, mitigate also. But see, when people go to the forest to extract resources, we don't want them to actually do that. Hunting, honey hunting, honey collecting, ওটা একটা season থাকে. It's twice a year. And they all get permits, they all get license permits to go and collect honey. But otherwise, they shouldn't be going into the forest to extract any resources. But what happens is they go fishing in the Dangmari Canal, which is a dolphin sanctuary. They extract resources nonetheless. They can't help it. By, you know, that is how they've lived all their lives. Now, if we suddenly go up to them and say, you can't fish here anymore, I'm sorry, they're not going to be able to do that overnight. Because if you tell them to stop fishing, what are they going to eat? There's really nothing there. The soil is so saline, it's just so full of salinity that there are also not a lot of vegetables they can grow. So what are they supposed to do? How are they going to live? So this is called an alternative income generating activity, and that is what we've gone there with the hope that if we can start a whole process of ecotourism in the region, then maybe they'll find this as an opportunity to not go to the forest as much as they normally do. Acha, so I've spoken about cottages. I'm sorry, this isn't working. Okay, I've spoken about cottages. I've spoken about training. Tell me, what do you think are the various kind of people that work there? So you have one person who's a cottage owner, right? Okay, what else? You all have the brochures in front of you. Who else do you think works there? What kind of employment generation have we been able to encourage? Chefs. Okay, good. So you have cottage owner, your chef. Sorry? Staff of the cottages, yes. Boat riders or boatmen, yes. 4. Guide, 5. Well, see, yes, security. We have security people, yes, because when tourists go to stay there, the locals they form a group and they patrol the cottages every night. So security, that's 6. Any more? Any more you can think of? Sorry? Waste collectors, absolutely. So that's already 7. 7 different kind of people who are working there. I'm also trying to think of who else we've missed out on, but you've kind of covered most of the major forms of employment. There's one more though, which I will come to eventually. If the slide moves fast enough. Yes, cultural ecotourism. So as you have seen on our brochures that this is not just an ecotourism project, this is a project that encourages cultural ecotourism. Now if ecotourism itself wasn't a vague enough term, we added the word cultural with it to make it look a little more unique. Now what do you think we're doing here? Why are we calling ourselves a cultural ecotourism project? Like this, the one person who's giving me all the answers already mentioned that they have a culture there, where they call the Bag Mama. Do you guys know of this? Yes, good. That picture on the extreme right, that is a natuk picture. Do you know what this natuk is? Someone, anyone. What is that happening over there? What natuk is that? Huh? No, the one on the right, the lower right. Bon Bibi natuk. Do you know who the Bon Bibi is?
Supposedly goddess where people in Shukla would pray to protect themselves.
Yep, that's the one. Bon Bibi is a goddess who actually both Hindus and Muslims pray to. And her, the festival is coming up in December, in fact. They're all going to go and pray to her. So what happens is, each and every member of the Shundavans, I mean, I've seen this across the board. All of them know that if I go into the forest to do something illegal, like I go into, fell trees, or if I go into collect wood or some other natural resource, or to kill a deer or something, they know for sure that Bon Bibi is not going to protect them because they're going in to do something bad. And Bon Bibi only protects them when they go in with the right intentions. They don't want to harm the nature. They don't want to, harm any living thing. That's when Bon Bibi actually protects them, and you know that very well. So, ঠিকই জানে যে আমি খারাপ কাজ করেছি এই জন্য Bon Bibi আমাকে শাস্তি দিয়েছে. They actually say that. So that is the unique culture of the Shundavans, which actually, for some odd reason, it still holds them together, because they believe in her more than they believe in God. Now, these are the kind of little, and that picture over there where you're saying that they're going to hunt. You know who those people are? They're called the Munda community. Have any of you ever heard of this term, this community? Munda community. I would be very surprised if one of you has actually. They're a very unique, they're not indigenous, they're a very unique community that have come from India. There's a place called Chhattisgarh in India. These people came around 300 years back. They came for various reasons. They came to find employment in Bangladesh, and because they were very hardy, they were very strong, they were very fearless, so they got a lot of employment in the Sundarban region. And they continued living here. And the strange thing about these people is that they have their own language. It's called the Shadri Bhasha. Okay? They eat rats and they eat snakes and they eat frogs. So they're a very unique people, and look at their costume. They, I don't know if you can see them. They have all these feathers on their heads. They signify different, I think designations in the society. So it's a very interesting, unique culture, and we made sure that one of our major sites is in their region. This is in Kalinji Shamnagar, the Munda community. There is in one of the brochures you will see that the Munda community is highlighted. So our project mainly is not just ecotourism. Yes, we want people to come here. We want travelers to understand that they are next to the Shundavans, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is a huge resource for us. And they need to be respectful. They need to be respectful of the people, of the culture. And because these people, all these people in the pictures, they are also employed. So they also get they get the opportunity to earn extra money through all these activities. Because every time someone goes there, this is the welcoming committee. Those people, when they come and perform, they're all performers, so they get money for their work. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure if that's the last slide. I think it missed a slide in between. No? Okay. Alright, so we're going to come to constraints. I'm only going to put one constraint here. So I don't know if I could actually give you an idea about what ecotourism really is, but from whatever you've heard, can you think of any of the bad impacts that ecotourism can actually have? And now this time I would actually invite the teachers to also speak up if they would like to. Since you guys are not talking, I'll keep on adding information, but please go ahead and ask me anything you want. Even if it's a stupid question, at least we'll get some entertainment out of it. Come on. Everyone is going to have to say something now. Nadeem Bhai, this is your chance to say something. Come on, Nadeem Bhai.
Now, one, I think it's great work you're doing. You don't shoot me out.
Yeah, no.
But my point is, like, what happened with the Maasai?
Yeah.
they had a whole culture, life, and everything. And after the whole ecotourism thing,
Mhm.
Maasai stopped being Maasai.
Hmm.
And instead of being cattle herders, it became monkeys for the tourists.
Mhm.
So
Okay. So your concern is that when a lot of people start going into these areas, they actually the delicate balance of the cultural integrity or identity, they start losing it, and that is a very important concern that we should have. But I think the uniqueness about the people of the Sundarbans is, firstly, it's a very remote area. A lot of people cannot actually go there very easily, because even though this is in Dapur, Dapur is actually quite accessible. Still, we don't get a lot of tourists going down there. So we actually, by default, we're managing to maintain this carrying capacity of the area, carrying capacity of the tourist, somehow. And also the sites, we are not letting them have more than a certain number of cottages. So per site, we don't have more than 7 to 8 people living all at one time. So somehow we're trying to, from our end, we're trying to maintain a certain number of people maximum. But that's a very grave concern that actually should be considered. Anything else? So I'll keep putting them on. Waste disposal. Yeah, please.
Is there people
Gachkata people, yes, all of them. You can actually consider all of them Nirbhoshil on fishing, all of them are Nirbhoshil on Gachkata. Because you see, these people have been living there always, okay? And if you go to one of these communities, you will understand that they are very far from the mainland. The closest to them is the Sundarban. It's just a swim across. তো ওদের জন্য সুন্দরবনে ঢুকে গাছ কেটে আনা জ্বালানি কাঠের জন্য এটা কোনো ব্যাপারই না। ওদের বাচ্চা 2-3 বছর বাচ্চাও গিয়ে ওই কাজটা করে আনতে পারবে, রাইট? সরি, হ্যাঁ, এটা কন্ট্রোল করার ব্যাপারটা খুব ডিফিকাল্ট, বিকজ ওদের এমনিতেই ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে ওখানে টহল পার্টি একটা থাকে, পেট্রোলিং গ্রুপ একটা থাকে, অল ডে লং দে কিপ কামিং আপ অ্যান্ড ডাউন দ্য রিভার। ওরা কিন্তু আছে, ওদের আড়ালে কিন্তু, বিকজ জায়গাটা এতই বড় যে এটা ওই ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্টের পেট্রোল টিমের পক্ষে সম্ভব না সবসময় সবার উপরে নজর রাখা। যে একটু নদীতে ওই পারে গেল, ও ভিতরে ঢুকে ওর কাজটা করে চলে আসলো। সো ইটস অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভেরি ডিফিকাল্ট টু মনিটর দ্যাম। দ্যাটস ওয়াই আমরাও যখন যাই, আমরা ওদেরকে বলে রাখি, আমরা ওদের সাথে কন্ট্রাক্টে সাইন করেছি যে আপনি গাছ কাটতে পারবেন, আপনি এই করতে পারবেন না, সেই করতে পারবেন না। কিন্তু আমরা যখন চলে যাই, আমাদেরকে কোনো গ্যারেন্টি নেই আমাদের যে ওরা আসলেই সেই কাজগুলো করছে। We just have to trust them and hope that ecotourism-এর মাধ্যমে ওরা যে বেনিফিট পাচ্ছে, যে আয় পাচ্ছে, সেটার কারণে ওরা হয়তো সেই কাজগুলো আস্তে আস্তে বন্ধ করে দেবে। কিন্তু now that you mentioned it, I'm going to talk about something else. যে কথাটা এখন পর্যন্ত আমি বলিনি, বাট নর্মালি আমরা এখানে বলেছি যে we have helped them become entrepreneurs, we've helped them get business licenses. Now tell me something, আমরা অনেকজনকে ওখানে এম্পাওয়ার করছি এইভাবে, রাইট? ডু ইউ থিঙ্ক যে আমরা যাদেরকে এম্পাওয়ার করেছি, ওদের পাশে যে অন্য গ্রামগুলো আছে, তারা যদি, আমরা তো রিলিফ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল, আমাদের এই প্রজেক্টটা কিন্তু নেক্সট ইয়ার শেষ হয়ে যাবে। When we leave, we hope that we've developed them to a stage where they can carry on their own. কিন্তু মনে করেন রিলিফ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল চলে গেল, ওখানে আরেকটা ভিলেজ থেকে লোকজন বলে যে ভাই আমি ওই কাজটা করতে চাই। ডু ইউ থিঙ্ক they can do this on their own? No, why? Forget the fact that it's very expensive and এইভাবে কিভাবে করবে এটা। ওরা যদি বলে যে ভাই আমি তো একটা কটেজ বানাইছি আমি আমার টাকা দিয়ে, ডু ইউ থিঙ্ক সেই কটেজটা শুধু বানায় সেই কাজটা আগাতে পারবে? Why? They're not well trained. Okay. Anything else?
marketing,
Sorry?
marketing.
Marketing. They need marketing. They need to tell people that they are also a part of the whole system. Anything else? Well, suppose someone wants to build a cottage. Can you go get a bank loan? Can you go get a bank loan? Yes? You think we can get a bank loan?
No.
No.
How come?
I'm glad to hear there are more no's than only one yes. Why can't they get a bank loan? What's so hard about getting a bank loan? Well, the community they come from, a bank would not easily want to trust them, right? They have to give some kind of a collateral or they can't get a bank loan. So the problem is that there are no financial instruments that actually support ecotourism. Ecotourism is a term that is in our tourism policy কিন্তু আমাদের tourism policy মধ্যে if you go to the tourism policy online section 5.6 এ কিন্তু ecotourism নিয়ে 3টা লাইন লেখা বাংলায় ঠিক আছে ecotourism সবকটা protected এরিয়াতে করা আমরা মানে আদেশ দিচ্ছি সবাইকে সো গভর্নমেন্ট সবাইকে বলেই রাখছে যে protected এরিয়াতে ecotourism করতে হবে বাট সেটা শুধু বললেই তো হবে না you need to have the instruments to actually encourage this venture. Anything else? Threat to dynamics of local culture, by the way, I already mentioned that on the last point, which you said. Anything else? Benefit sharing is an issue I mentioned there. What am I trying to say here? Share benefit. The benefit of whom? Whose benefit am I talking about? The community or the individual? Or the whole forest? Community, right? Okay. What benefit?
Such as with healthcare.
Sorry?
Healthcare. That's because when a business will start, then there might be some healthcare facilities, might be, or there might be some local market or local government, other business will build up automatically. So on that figure, other member of the community will be benefited.
It's money.
It's the money
Okay.
that they're
So, yes,
It's the benefit of the whole forest.
of the whole forest. Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to cut these up into little pieces. My point here was mainly about benefit sharing, financial benefit sharing. So when a tourist is going in there, he is giving money to a whole lot of people that he actually doesn't realize. Okay. So suppose আমাদের ওখানে grocery লেখা per night it's 1500 টাকা per night to stay in the cottage. Cottage যে টাকাটা যাচ্ছে সেটা তো শুধু cottage owner এর কাছে যাচ্ছে, right? So the cottage owner is putting the money in his pocket. What about the rest of the village? Boatman যে আপনাকে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে আপনি তো শুধু boatman-কে টাকা দিচ্ছেন আপনি যে meal খাচ্ছেন 450 টাকা per meal আমরা লিখেছি who all is getting benefited by that 450 টাকা there are a lot of people who actually support who actually provide the raw material ডিম এক জায়গা থেকে আসছে সবজি এক জায়গা থেকে আসছে মাছ এক জায়গা থেকে আসছে okay so there are lots of components that play into making this a successful business venture the entrepreneur himself is not the only person who is being benefited. Plus, in our, because they are with Leap International, they have signed a contract that whatever money they get, there's a certain amount they have to give to the community for various purposes. This can also be for purpose of conservation, this can be for building the roads, this can be for anything, community development. But the point is that it is always a concern for us. যে আসলে কি benefit সেভাবে share হচ্ছে? ওরা যখন খাওয়া আমি একজনকে ডিম আনলো ওই দিন আমি গেলাম and আমাকে এক গাদা মানুষ আমার সামনে এসে দাঁড়াই বলছে আপা আমার থেকে ওই দিন ডিম নিয়ে গেছে আমাকে ঠিক মতো টাকা কিন্তু দেয়নি so I had to stand there and actually do the হিসাব for the amount of eggs that had been brought so that he could be paid the right amount. Now we can't always be there, right? So we have to somehow hope and we have to somehow make sure that there is a system, an audit, a monthly or a 3-monthly audit within the community where they can ensure that everyone is getting the benefit. It's not easy. And that's where you guys come in. Soon. I hope. Anyway, yes. So, I had discussed this with Tami before. And because since all of you are here and you've given me a wonderful time, I'm very glad for that. I actually thought of giving you a little task. I mean, I would like this thing to be a continuing process with all of you because not just because I'm from NSU and not just because the first time I heard about ecotourism was in NSU through Earth Club, but because I really wanted your input. We in our project we really like to hear what you guys think we should do. So we actually are going to leave this task with Tanil. I'm not sure how you're going to manage this, but you can probably give them a deadline, and I would really like all of you to give us suggestions on how we can make this project better. I'm willing to come and sit with you if you want. Please go look at our website, go look at our Facebook page, learn more about the project. And I think all of you have the ability to healthcare. You mentioned something about healthcare. Frankly speaking, we really haven't done much on that. We really haven't. We've not considered, yes, we have a doctor on call, but that's all. I mean, we have not done anything about any health issues that might occur. That is a section we've completely not done. So, this is, you guys can actually come up with ideas which will help us improve ourselves. Yes?
We need to make a site visit first.
Yeah.
Everyone's supposed to clap at that.
Yeah.
You really and I completely agree, and I would love to have all of you there. And I'm actually, I think I'm speaking on behalf of all of us at Breathe International that I've already told Zakaria sir that, please plan a trip and come and stay at our cottages and experience it, And if you guys want to give us suggestions after that, we're open to that as well. So, the whole point is that we'd really like to hear from you. We want to know more from you guys. What you think we can do, because we're leaving next year and we are very concerned about the sustainability of this project. So that's the main thing. Now I'm going to actually call Mahmood over and probably try and arrange this thing. How do you want me to do this?
Okay. Write down the questions. I will give you my email address at the end of the seminar. Send all the answers by
It's up to you. I mean, your semester and
in 1 week. So what's the date today? By 24th. Send me the answers by 24th. We'll go through it. The selected persons will be taken to the field trip. Okay?
That includes us as
well.
The selected
Why not?
answers will be taken to
So the selected